Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Arena for our fourth and final game of the 2024 Men's Basketball Preseason Classic. Please welcome our guests from Jones High School. They are the Tigers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the presentation of colors by the Wekiva High School Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Tonight's detail is under the command of Cadet Captain James Rabanek, carrying the U.S. flag. Carrying the Florida State flag is Cadet Airman Danielle Walker. The Rifle Guards are Cadets Major Diego Hernandez and Senior Airman Diablo Fleming. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glow, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And now, let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Jones, and we'll start with number 0, Kay Holmes. Number 2, T. Mack. Number 10, Kay Quinn. Number 21, C. Francis. And number 23, Kay Thompson. Tigers are coached by Travis Aiken Sr. And now, let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at forward with 6'2" junior, number 0, Darius Halliday. At guard, 5'11" junior, number 3, Bryce Dees. At guard, number 21, Kenny Dujust. At guard, number 1, Darian Thomas, a 5'11" junior. And finally, for the Mustangs, at guard, 5'9" senior, number 4, Juju Johnson. The head coach of the Mustangs is Justina Lewin. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this in every athletic competition. For our fans here in the arena, we want to remind you that we are live streaming tonight's game on YouTube and the NFHS network. If you have friends or family who in Orlando, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world who are not able to join us for tonight's game in person, make sure you send them a link, nfhsnetwork.com, or search Wekiva Sports on the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device. And it seems we have some debris from perhaps one of the ceiling fixtures that has fallen on the floor, so we're going to have a little pause here as we get that swept. Signal. No signal. And we appreciate your patience. We're paused for just a moment. It seems we have some debris from the ceiling that we're getting swept up, and then we'll get our game underway here as we conclude Game 4 of the 2024 Men's Basketball Preseason Classic. Again, we are live streaming on YouTube and the NFHS network, and we will continue to be doing that all season long. This will conclude our preseason action, but the Mustangs will be right back at it on November 19th. They will host Lake Minneola Hawks for Game 1 of the regular season. We hope that you'll come back and join us for that, whether it is in person or online. Then they're on the road on the 22nd at Hope Academy. On the 26th, they have Lake Highland Prep, one of the host schools of the 14th annual Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. That's a 5:15 p.m. game coming up on November 26th. That's the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, and part of a 28-game showcase in which the Orlando Metro Conference represents the home team in each event, and the brightest and best schools among private schools and the surrounding counties from the area represent the visiting school in each contest. So again, Lake Highland Prep will be the opponent for the Mustangs, and that is 5:15 on November 26th from LHP. We also remind you to make sure that you are subscribed to us on YouTube, NFHS Network, Facebook, Twitter, and X, or Twitter also known now as X, and Instagram. We are Wekiva Sports on all of those services. That's x.com/Wekiva Sports, facebook.com/Wekiva Sports, instagram.com/Wekiva Sports, and youtube.com/Wekiva Sports. You'll get live updates from many of our athletic events, as well as news and information about our athletes and alumni. And we are ready to get going. DeJuste and Holmes at center court for the tip. Welcome to those of you who are joining us online. We hope you'll subscribe while you're here. Thanks for your patience while we got the court safe for our players. Tigers are going to take the opening tip. So the Mustangs will have the next possession, and we are underway. Both of these teams lost their first game, and we're going to get a backcourt violation. Mustangs ball. So Jones gets the jump ball, but ends up with a turnover to start their first possession. Again, both of these teams had some challenges against Apopka in the case of the Tigers, against East River in the case of the Mustangs on Tuesday night. So both of these teams looking for redemption here as we get going in Game 4. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School. I'm joined, as I have been for these last 17, now 18 seasons, by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, and we're going to get a call for traveling Tigers ball. So Neil, Even though these games don't count on the record, as they look toward getting some momentum going for the regular season, you certainly would rather start 1-1 than 0-2 for the preseason record.
Yeah, to use a word that Chris Berman, the legendary ESPN SportsCenter anchor, like to say, you want to get off the schneid as soon as possible, and getting that first win, looking for it, can really start to linger and weigh on the team. And as you mentioned, both these teams in their first live action as a spin, no dice, unable to come up with wins on Tuesday night. Of course, they are preseason, so they don't go against the regular season record. But again, going back to the idea, you want to get off the schneid, you want to get that first win out of the way as soon as possible, get a blueprint for how to win on offense and defense.
And, of course, at the high school level, preseason games serve a little bit different of a function than they do at the professional level as we get some contact here. Juju Johnson is fouled on his way up. He'll go to the line and shoot two. The foul is called against Tigers. Number 10, Quinn, that's the team's first. When you look at the professional level, you typically don't see your starters. You see the people who are on the bubble of making the team or not playing. In the case of high school, the teams have already been decided. Now this is a matter of figuring out how the players who are going to see significant minutes are going to work together.
A 1-0 lead as Juju Johnson, who is the face of the Wekiva program, he joined the team as a freshman, now a senior already. He became a starter midway through his sophomore year. So the turnover for Jones. So this is a lineup somewhat different than we saw Tuesday night. Asked Coach Lubin about that, and he just simply said he's just trying a couple different combinations to see what works best. And that also goes back to your point, Mark, about high school basketball being a time you pretty much got an idea of who your starters are, and or at least your main rotation. Wekiva's still not quite set on all their starters. Deese, Johnson, and DeJuice all starting on Tuesday night as, well, a couple more turnovers.
Fast break there went wrong. It's a high-risk, high-reward proposition, and not handled precisely. They threw a jump ball.
Making the start tonight for their first time as a spin, no dice. Really not a good shot. Our Holiday number 0 and Thomas number 1. As Johnson gets in front, keeps the ball in Wekiva possession across the court. They swing it around to the top with Thomas.
Thomas adds two for the Mustangs.
So 2-0 lead for Wekiva. One other factor I want to point out, both these games, as we mentioned, lost Tuesday. Wekiva losing to East River, Jones losing to Apopka. And both of those, the big stat that stood out was the turnovers.
Foul called against Juju Johnson, his first team's first. Checking into the game for the Tigers.
Of course, if you follow basketball, really any sport for that matter, if you check, if you follow sports for that matter, turnovers always are play a huge role. Any coach will tell you, not only do turnovers take away -1 in terms of the number of possessions that their team has, or it gives the other team another possession with which to work with which to score, but it also takes.
Called against number 3, Jones, his first, the team's second.
But the possession also is one less for the team turning the ball over. So Deese brings it up one-on-one on his counterpart in terms of numbers. That's Johnson. And Johnson gets the foul.
Jones called on his second personal foul, the team's third. Again, that's Jones the player, not just Jones the team.
And Wekiva returns the favor. Both teams turning the ball over 3 minutes, just 3 minutes into the ball game. Jones swings it around to that left wing extended. That's Holmes. Down on the baseline, up top Jones launches and splash.
3 three for Holmes.
Cuts the lead to 4-3. And a quick whistle.
Third consecutive foul called on Jones. That's the team's fourth.
.425 first quarter.
And coach trying to get Jones out of the game, but can't because the substitute did not have a shirt tucked in. So
Johnson bringing the ball up. Facing that double team against Jones, a staple of their way of playing basketball.
Held ball. Possession Mustangs. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 11, Jason Francillon. And Francillon is fouled on the way up. He'll go to the line and shoot two. The foul is called against Tigers number 21, Francis. His first, the team's fifth. So just like that, we're not even halfway through the period. Wekiva already has penalty in their favor for the rest of these 8 minutes. First shot is good.
First free throws of the game for either team. 4:11 first quarter.
Lane violation, no basket. Tigers ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 21, Kenny Dugest. Apologies, we seem to be having some technical difficulties with our camera up top. Once we get to a break in the action, we'll see if we can switch out some cables and get that a little bit more stable for you. Meanwhile, we'll get you the view from the score table here.
5-3 lead for Wekiva, both these teams. Jones the opponent. Wekiva with possession, looking for their first win of the 2024-25 season. And
Timeout Mustangs.
And we've seen a lot of erratic play in terms of good and bad. Nothing, couple minutes, a stretch of a minute here, stretch of a minute there. When we come back, we'll see if Wekiva can build on their 2-point lead.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 3 minutes, 32 seconds remaining in the first period. Not a very high-scoring ball game so far. And a delay of game warning called against the Tigers.
So Nichols with the inbound. He came in during the break. During that timeout, top of the key now. That's Thomas, hands it back off to Nichols, and he gets the ball swiped. Right place, right time, though, is DeJuice. And Wekiva resets as we approach 3 minutes, first quarter. That's Holiday trying to make something out of nothing, but unsuccessful. Back the other way we go now. Jones in that running attack, another trait that they run no matter who the coach is. Of course, their current coach is Coach Atkins. 3 minutes exactly. The cross-court dribble. Across the knee dribble. Slicing through. And no dice on the attempted layup is Francis. And Wekiva turns it over. A strong rebound.
Traveling called after the rebound. Tigers ball. So, yeah, officially that is a turnover in the stats if we were keeping stats for the unofficial preseason game. But that only feels like half a turnover because you never really had the ball to begin with.
So Wekiva dodges the proverbial bullet, and they'll go back to work with that 5-3 lead, 2.5 first quarter. From the corner, it's Nichols, drains the rain.
3 for Nichols.
And make that 8-3 lead now. Couldn't come at a better time for Wekiva as they up the lead to 2 possessions, 5 points. Most importantly, momentum is on their side now. Back to work Jones goes, looking for an answer. The fadeaway off the mark. That was Thompson. Ill-advised shot. Back the other way. Wekiva unable to connect. Thomas rips down the rebound. He can't get the ensuing second chance opportunity. And
yeah, Nichols was waiting for that ball to come to him and probably should have been a little more aggressive on that. Wekiva will hang on to it anyway.
Eight-3 lead for Wekiva, and they will maintain possession, so a chance to get the lead up to 7 or even 8. And they opt for the 2-point, which does not succeed.
Yeah, that pass was high, and
so mentioned turnovers was, of course, it's always more than one stat or reason when a team loses as Wekiva. Always a full-court man-to-man team, a staple of Coach Lubin coach teams. But the one that stuck out first and foremost was turnovers, and both these teams lost this Tuesday night. Wekiva's turned the ball over 5 times despite having the 8-3 lead. So that also means that Jones isn't shooting very well. There will be another turnover. Great job by Johnson. Off the rim, that was Nichols. Windex work, back to the boards. Trying to do the bank. That was Francillin.
Mustangs called on the foul on the rebound effort. That's Juju Johnson. Called on his second, the team's second.
So Wekiva with a couple of opportunities to further increase their lead, unable to do so. Inbound pass. Again, mentioned Wekiva, always a full court man-to-man team. That's their trademark, Lubin's trademark. .126 remaining first quarter. 8-3 lead for
Push
Wekiva.
is called against Darian Thomas's first, the team's third.
Jones back to work. Rotated left wing extended.
Meanwhile, during the break, Kenyon Arrington comes into the game for Juju Johnson, who's now picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter.
And with 1:04 remaining, the score remaining 8-3.
Foul called against number 11, Jason Francillin, his first, the team's fourth.
So both the teams for the remaining 64 seconds.
Bryce D is back into the game for Wekiva.
Will be in the bonus. 5 fouls per period. The launch and splash from Stratton.
Stratton for 3.
Nice looking stroke, cuts the lead to 8-6. Wekiva gets the ball up quickly through the lane. That's Francillin, nowhere to go, kicks it back out to Enfriani. Enfriani and Francillin, 2 transfers this year. Back into the corner with Nichols. Does not find the range on the tray. Doing Windex work was Enfriani, but unable to hold the ball though. Positioned himself right.
Slapped out of bounds by Eric Nichols. Stays with the Tigers. 29.5 to go here in the first quarter. And that was some rough communication there. Holmes wisely lets the ball get to the backcourt so he doesn't get called for a backcourt violation.
Jones with an opportunity to tie this ball game. They haven't trailed by more than 2 possessions. And, of course, as soon as they say it, they commit their fifth turnover.
That was great there. Zigged when he should have zagged. It almost looks like a football wide receiver play where somebody just misreads their route.
Nichols bringing the ball up, waves everybody off. Errant pass, right in the way.
Stolen dunk by Holmes.
Tied at 8-8 with 3 seconds remaining.
Foul is called against number 1, Grade. That's his first personal foul. Penalty situation at the line, shooting 2, Eric Nichols. It's his first. And the second. That takes us to the end of the first quarter, and the Mustangs holding on to a 2-point lead. 10-8 is the score at the end of the opening 8 minutes here in Game 4 of the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs Basketball Preseason Classic. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Getting ready to start the second quarter here. 2-point lead for the Mustangs, 10-8. They started out with the momentum, then the Tigers let a little bit of air out of Wekiva's sails here in the last couple minutes of the first quarter.
Wekiva having a couple of opportunities to get that lead beyond 5 points, and they were unsuccessful. And as you mentioned, Mark, suddenly the air comes out and they only have a 2-point lead. Another opportunity, though, to increase their lead as we start the second quarter. They take possession. Deese off to Nichols. Picks up the pick. Doesn't do much, though, for the one-on-one. And as he swings through, sweeps through the lane, draws the foul.
It is called against Tigers, number 22, Stratton. That's his first, the team's first of this period.
Down low.
Charge called against Jason Francillon. That's his second, the team's first. Charge taken by Horn. Tigers ball.
Tigers with another opportunity to tie the game. They get the ball up quickly. 2-on-2. The pass. That was big, and the ball swatted out of bounds. So Horn will inbound the ball, and just as quickly, another turnover.
Yep, Butterfingers there, just a little bit of imprecision.
6 turnovers for Wekiva.
Timeout, Mustangs. Full timeout requested by Wekiva.
5 turnovers for Jones in the first quarter. We go to the timeout. 10-8. Wekiva has led throughout. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 7 minutes, 26 seconds. Coach Lubin saw some opportunity for improvement in the first 34 seconds of the second quarter. Mustangs will now take it out. No harassment from the Tigers in the backcourt, at least for now. Kenny Dugiz draws the contact on the way up. He'll go to the line and shoot two. The foul's called against Tigers, number 22, Stratton, his second.
So Wekiva back at the free throw line, and yet another opportunity to further up the lead. It's been 10-8 for quite some time too, Mark.
Yeah, certainly
Real
nothing.
time.
Nothing since the start of the quarter. Now finally Dugiz will change that. I spoke to Bryce Dees' uncle at dinner, and he said that boy better pull down 40. Well, not on track to do that so far.
Skying for the rebound. Impressive rebound. That's Thomas.
Darian Thomas on the putback.
So that's
well, Neil, that's the best kind of missed foul shot. It's the one that turns into a putback.
Yeah, three-point play for all intended purposes. Off the mark from the corner, tracking that long rebound down is Holmes. And he was in one-on-one coverage with Thomas when we got a whistle.
Mustang foul is called against Darian Thomas. That's his second, the team's second.
And the beautiful layup floating in that deuce is
Holmes for two on the layup.
So 13-10, Wekiva, one more point lead from 2-3, and now a chance to cut into that lead. That's Jones. As Holmes, again, he's been the man the last couple of minutes, minute and a half into the second quarter. Stepping in front of the pass.
Holmes directing traffic there, now some rotation.
Into the middle.
And short on the jumper. Mustangs trying to make something happen in transition. Overthrew the intended receiver, Francellin. Again, I feel like I'm calling a football game here.
Yeah, the pace has picked up here in the second quarter in terms of running up and down the court. So now we're seeing the ball walked up. That's Thompson. Both teams take a breather for a few seconds. 13-10 lead. Wekiva has led throughout.
Hey, Neil, knock, knock.
What?
Nobody's there.
And yes, the turnovers continue. Both teams with a pair in the second quarter. Double coverage. That's Deese. Tries to muscle his way out.
Held ball, possession, Tigers.
So mentioned both these teams coming off sub-500 records. Jones by far the better record at 12-14. They did qualify for the playoffs though. And one of the things about their record too, like we mentioned when Jones and East River played, as the tray is launched, Kareem's off that left side. Give the rebound to Jean Louise. Jones plays a very difficult schedule year in, year out. That's one of their traits. Again, 12-14 made the playoffs. Wekiva, on the other hand, 5-23, an extremely disappointing year for them in any sense. And now picking up the long rebound is Holmes, and he slams it in, and that's going to be a +1 as well. Bad
Holmes
decision.
with the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. Foul is called on Mustangs number 1, Darian Thomas, his third. The team's third.
So Holmes continues to
Nichols back into the game for the Mustangs. Holmes shooting one.
enforce his will and skill more than any other player. Up to 9 now. And nice stroke.
10 out of 13 points belong to Holmes, and now it's a tie ball game. 13 all. And the Tigers decide to turn up the heat. They've gone a couple possessions without the full court press. Now they will do it, and it discombobulates the Mustangs, but they're unable to avoid the contact Foul called against Tigers number 5, Bing. That's his first personal foul, team's third of the period.
So Jones certainly successful in the reason that they're going to this full court press, even though they didn't get the turnover, which is you want to make moving that ball up the court uncomfortable for the opponent. Not that time though.
Fadeaway jumper for Caden Jean Lewis.
So the second lead change of the ball game, almost 4 minutes into the second quarter. Aaron throw and a scrap for it. Both players hitting the
Foul
deck.
is called against Darius Holiday. That's his first, the team's fourth. Tigers ball at the baseline.
So Jones will be in bonus the rest of the way. 5 fouls per period equals the bonus. That rule was changed last summer at the beginning of the last season. And a
traveling Mustangs ball.
So thank you for joining us on this Thursday night. The last game for the fourth of 4 games making up the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs Men's Basketball Preseason Classic. Preseason Tip-Off Classic. That's Johnson unable to connect on the 15-foot attempt. And a whistle
held ball,
on the
possession
rebound.
Mustangs.
So offensive rebound credited to Wekiva. They have possession, 2 points, lead. Left wing extended, Johnson spins into the middle. The soft touch, no dice from the free throw line. And a long high rebound and a whistle.
Held ball, this time it's possession Tigers. We're going to wear out the switch on this possession here, O'Neill.
So Wekiva unable to score on the 2 offensive rebounds. But if you're Coach Lubin, you got to like the fact that you're getting those opportunities. You got to like that as well.
Yeah, Eric Nichols getting in the way of that one. And again, that's just a good hustle move. Doesn't get you anything statistically in terms of a steal or a new possession, but it interrupts the momentum for the Tigers.
Yeah, again, as a defense, your number one job, we can talk about results, but in general, you're trying to get those results. You got to first make things uncomfortable for your opponent.
Yeah, when you do something like that, it kind of has the same effect as icing the kicker in football, as we get a 3 for Holmes. So the Tigers take the lead. Is that their first lead tonight, Neil?
I believe so.
And an interception by Holmes. Thompson is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Mustangs, number 25. Eric Nichols, his first personal foul, the team's 5th.
So at the line is Thompson. He's looking for his first points of the game. And he's still looking. Neither team shooting a lot of free throws, 5 combined. 3:28 before halftime. And can't get that second, but the rebound, Windex work, right place, right time for Horn. And they'll reset, go back to work, left wing extended Thompson. One-on-one with Tees, across the...
Thompson picks up 2 for the Tigers.
Making the withdrawal from the bank. And again, Jones remaining in that full court trap. Dees blows by it and hands the ball off. Back out to the top at Johnson. Settle things down. Juju now setting up the offense. One-on-one, top of the key. 18-15 lead for Jones, who are on a 6-0 run. Johnson again, left wing extended as Jones switches defense. And they're going to also pick up a foul.
Foul is called against Tigers, number 23, Thompson. That's his first personal foul, the team's 4th of this period. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, DeJuiced.
So both teams will be in the bonus the rest of the way for this quarter. 2.5 remaining. Deese over to Holiday. Still with it, down low against the baseline, over to DeJuice. Kicks it back out. They swing it around to Deese. Launch and splash!
Three for Bryce Deese from Darius Holiday.
And we're tied at 18 all. Second tie of the ball game. Down to the corner. Another attempt to take the three-point lead. No dice for Holmes. Skying for the rebound, but unable to hold on. And Jones, second offensive opportunity. Lots of action down there. And finally, in an attempt to save it, that was Bing. So we've seen both teams now on a handful of possessions get multiple offensive rebounds, with unable to turn them into points, though. And again, 18-18 score, which I think is reflective of the play. Down low, DeJuice.
Long transition play from Deese to Anderson Efrain for two.
Anthony putting Wekiva back up, 20-18.
That was a beautiful transition play. I think that's probably the best I've seen for transition baskets this whole preseason tournament. Now the tray released and drains. Kay Holmes for three.
And 21-20 lead for Jones. So for most...
Stolen.
Blows by
Holmes
everybody.
Steals two.
23-20 lead for Jones. They're now on a 5-0 run.
Holmes did not break stride from the moment he stole the ball to the moment he completed the layup. Jumper from the baseline, not going to fall for Holiday, and now we're going to get some contact. This is going to be a penalty. Fouls called against Mustangs, number 24, Anderson Efrain. That's his first personal foul. And penalty situation. We'll be shooting two, but first, a timeout called by the Tigers. Full timeout requested by Jones, their first of the game.
51.8 seconds remaining in the first half. What was a back-and-forth game, we've now seen 5-0 runs by both teams, 23-20. Jones. .8 seconds remaining, second quarter. Wekiva, the home team, with the trailing 23-20 to the Jones Tigers. This is the fourth of four, if you prefer the last game, making up the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs Men's Basketball Tip-Off Classic. Of course, Mustang Arena, the site. And what was pretty much a as you expect game, Wekiva was in the lead for most of it. They were trading points. Wekiva led by 2 to 4 points throughout that run.
Holmes shooting two for penalty.
The last 2.5 minutes or so, Jones has gone on a 6-0, 5-0 run, and in between, Wekiva on a 5-0, and we have had 4 lead changes since then, along with 2 ties in those 2.5 minutes.
Another key difference here is that Holmes has 18 of the 23 points, making it 19 of 24 for the Tigers. Wekiva has a certainly much more balanced scoring effort. Nobody on the court right now has more than 3.
Yeah, and again, 6-0, 5-0 run by Jones in the last 2.5 minutes.
Foul called against Bing, his second, the team's 5th. That puts A penalty situation up for the Mustangs' favor. Now Bryce Dees shooting 2.
And I would say at least 10 of those 19 points that Mark said, just pointed out, scored by Holmes, were scored during those 2 runs. Again, 6-0 run and a 5-0 run by Jones, 5-0 run in between by Wekiva. Both these teams looking for their first win. To quote Chris Berman, the ESPN Sports Center anchor, looking to get off the schneid. 24-21 game now. And again, I can't tell you enough, as a former athlete, doesn't matter what sport it is, getting that first win is just a huge weight off the shoulders. You want to get it out of the way as soon as possible.
Fouls called against Mustangs number 21, Kenny DeJuice. That's his first. Tigers continue into bonus. Thompson now shooting 2.
So didn't see a lot of free throws in that first quarter, only total of 4 taken combined. Now we've seen this will be the 5th and 6th for Jones, 4 for Wekiva. Of course, we've been in the bonus for both teams for about 2 minutes now, as the lead now extended to 25-21. Jones in that lead. No dice on the second attempt. Windex work for DeJuice. Wekiva having trouble getting it out, but they do a good job of drawing the foul. DStat draws the foul.
Foul called against Horn. That's his first. Mustangs continue into bonus. Bryce Dees back at the line, shooting 2.
So about 200 fans in attendance. A number of them are from Jones. Of course, Jones just down the road, across from Camping World Stadium. Talked in that first game, as the score remains 25-21. East River was playing Apopka. East River all the way down on the east side, down by the 528. Second free throw goes, nice stroke. And now both teams was 7 free throw attempts for Jones. Wekiva was 6. 30 seconds remaining, so East River certainly the farthest to go. Jones not quite as far, but certainly not an easy, not nearly as quick as Apopka, just 5 miles from here, as a foul on that rebound.
Held ball, possession.
No.
Mustangs.
So it's a jump ball, held ball, technical term.
Yeah, they used to be called a jump ball. Most people still call it a jump ball, even though I don't think there's any league left that actually still does jump balls. Other than at the beginning of the game, of course.
10 seconds remaining. Johnson loses the ball to Holmes. And just
Holmes
like that,
steals a dunk for the Tigers.
Wekiva needs to come up with an answer here. They still got 2 seconds. That's D. Stop, fade away. Does not get the roll, the iron unkind. And so
that takes us to halftime, and it is a 5-point advantage for the Tigers headed into the locker room. 27-22 is the score at intermission here in Game 4 of the 2024 Wekiva Mustang Preseason Classic. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We've got ourselves a good one. The Mustangs coming out strong, but the Tigers catching up quickly, and they have the momentum going into the locker room. 27-22 is your score as we come back from intermission. And Neil, our viewers who are watching the graphic that we put up during halftime can see it. Jones is the Holmes show. Number 0 has 21 out of the 27 points. Wekiva, on the other hand, doesn't have anybody with more than 5. I had your top 5 scorers on the board at halftime, and the scoring is very, very evenly distributed. So I think for Coach Lubin, the top priority during those halftime conversations is to figure out how to solve the Holmes problem.
Yeah, Jones shooting 10 of 25 from the field. That's 40%. And, of course, when you drop in 21, such as Holmes has, you're probably shooting around 10% if your name isn't Holmes. Wekiva, on the other hand, 6 of 23. So give me a minute to figure that out. But you certainly can see, to your point, Mark, that's been the Holmes show with those 21 points. Other totals, 15 to 14 rebounds, Jones. And then 12 to 9. In turnovers, Wekiva with the 12, Jones with the 9. Wekiva making up some ground in the free throws. They do have 3 of 8 versus 8 of 12, so they've gotten 4 more free throws and made 5 more. And we begin the second half, both teams missing field goal attempts, 27-22. And no sooner do I say
for Thompson.
No sooner do I say missing field goals, Jones drops in a tray, and now they got the 8-point lead, the largest of the game. Johnson slipping, and down at the other end, an unfortunate break for Wekiva's. Holmes wide open and finds the range.
Timeout, Mustangs.
So I was going to say before that run there that maybe not a standout run, but the second quarter ended with a 17-9 advantage for Jones, and now I would say it's definitely a run. Changing the feel of the game. 5 straight points to start the second half, and now 22-9. 33-22 is your overall score. 6:58, third quarter.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena, and it has not been a great start to the third quarter for Wekiva.
5 straight points given up to Jones. This is the 4th and final game of the 2025 Wekiva Mustangs men's basketball preseason tip-off classic. Both these teams losing on Tuesday night. So both these teams with purpose coming in tonight. You always want to get that first win. Get it out of the way. Makes life a lot easier, even if it is just a couple games in. And so give Wekiva's defense credit for forcing that turnover. Back at the other end, Wekiva could use a basket, some points. And no, won't do it this time. Offensive foul. And
player control foul is called against number 15.
It's also a turnover, more importantly.
It's Arrington's first personal foul, the team's first of this quarter. And a turnover to the Tigers.
So mention that Jones as a team was shooting.
Double team by Holiday, and
Jones heating up
for Holmes.
Jones heating up from 3-point range. That's their second in a row. And now trying to escape the full court defense is Thomas.
Foul is called against Jones, the player, not the team. That's his 4th personal, the team's first of this quarter. That's potentially problematic because Jones racked up 3 in the first half.
So mention that Jones as a team is shooting 40%. Of course, Holmes had 21 points in that first half, so it's probably even lower when you take Holmes out. Wekiva's, though, was only 26%. So, again, 40%, Nothing to write home, nothing that stands out, but in comparison to Wekiva's 26, still a decided advantage, and that's only increased here in the second half.
Bing is into the game for the Tigers.
As Jones has opened up with a 9-0 run, and going back to the first half, it is now
held ball, possession Mustangs.
26-9, starting about midway through that second quarter. So Wekiva needs a couple of possessions in which they score in a row. And that's not going to do anything for them. Wide right. Whistle on the rebound with 5:44 third quarter. 36-22 is your overall score. So now Wekiva back to work, down by 14, 5:30 remaining, third quarter. Deese, top of the key. Wide right over to Thomas. He drives and makes the withdrawal from the bank.
Darian Thomas for 2.
So you got to start somewhere, and that's a strong start for Wekiva, cutting the lead to 12, as well as a strong move through the lane by Thomas. Now they need to come up with a couple of stops.
Kickball, possession remains with the Tigers.
Inbound that ball over to Bing. Through the lane. Oh, that was Mack who lost it, regains it, and now the travel.
Traveling Mustangs ball.
Stratton unable to control the ball as he tried to surge along that baseline. And that's, again, exactly what Wekiva needed. And, again, to use the old cliche, you don't need to score all 12 points in bunches. One step at a
Deese
time.
is foul on his way up. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 2, Mack. That's his first personal foul, the team's second of this period.
So Wekiva, in response to you can't get all 12 points in at once or in a bunch. They got that first basket on the offensive end from Thomas, sweeping through the lane. Then they get the turnover on the other end on the traveling, and now they're at the line with Deese. He makes the first of 2. See if he can cut this lead to 10. No, he can't. Rims off that right side. So a 14-point lead down to 11. It's a start as Holmes spots up. No dice, one of his few misses. And Windex work for Thomas. Strong underneath among 2 Jones players. Now he kicks it out to a wide open Juice, who was unable to control the ball.
Tigers ball.
Unable to control the ball, and that's exactly what Wekiva could not afford. The travel. So now, ball being walked up by Mack. Jones slowing down the pace. Wekiva going to an extended defense. Past half court. Jones cracking it, and they'll go to work, the 2-man game. And Mack
out of bounds. Mustangs ball.
Bing steps out of bounds. So Wekiva dodges the proverbial bullet. Both teams turning the ball over on their most recent possessions, or as you like to say, Mark, one good turnover deserves another. 4:18 remaining, 36-25 lead for Jones. They've led since about 3 minutes into the second quarter. The lead was as large as 14 about a minute ago. Wekiva looking to cut that lead down to single digits. Deese pops out, slaps off the rim. A loose ball.
Yeah, Holmes felt himself going down, so he got rid of it before he could travel.
And Holmes getting up slowly. He's still laying on his stomach, and now he rolls over.
Yeah, that was a big hustle move, but...
and at first, when Holmes went down, it looked like he just needed a few seconds to catch his breath. And now he doesn't look very good. We got our trainer out there working on his right foot ankle. 3:56 remaining, 36-25. Wekiva has cut that lead from 14 to 11. As I said, it's not a significant cut into the deficit, but you got to start somewhere.
Now this is potentially significant for the outcome of this game. If Holmes is going to lose significant minutes here, as Holmes makes his way off the court after being shaken up on the play with the assistance of our coaching and training teams. But that's big because he has 27 points, as you can see there, out of the team's 36.
Yeah, and he, as you saw him walking off, he could not put any weight on that right ankle and foot.
So that's 75% of the total offensive production of Jones just limped off the court.
Yeah, and also want to point out, too, Jones was shooting 40% at halftime, 10 of 25, and 21 of those points were with Holmes. So if you take out Holmes, again, we don't have the statistician, the manpower to do it, but I think you can use some common sense and deductive reasoning, as at the other end, score the deuce for Leuven St. Pierre.
St. Pierre for 2.
Cuts the lead down to 9. And a good defense there as Quinn nowhere to go. And Wekiva comes down quickly. So getting back to Jones without Holmes, just some common sense and deductive reasoning, and you can assume that Jones is shooting at least 25% without Holmes. And there you see it, 3 consecutive missed field goals.
Foul's called against Tigers number 5, Bing. That's his third, the team's third of this period.
So Wekiva, another opportunity to keep the momentum and the surge. Most importantly, to continue to cut into that lead. 14-point lead now down to 9 as Nichols one-on-one crosses midcourt. Under 3 minutes, third quarter. Into Thomas, the reverse, doesn't go in, off the heel. A second tip-in that was Francillon unable to get in. Now Jones clears the boards, comes down the other way. The launch from Bing,
3
and drains
for Bing.
it. So just how quickly momentum and strategy can change in the feel of a game. There's a perfect example. Lead back up to 12 in the blink of an eye when it could have been down to 7. Wekiva unfazed though. They'll go back to work. Still 14-20 remaining in this ball game. 2:20 third quarter. Francillon left wing extended to Nichols. He launches off the mark, wide right. And Jones with an opportunity to get back to their largest lead of the game.
Losing his dribble, bailed out by Thompson. Now to the corner, splash. 3 for Bing. Back-to-back trays for Bing. And this game is starting to look out of reach for Wekiva. They're going to have to change the momentum in a big way real fast. Thomas tries to drain his own 3 from the corner. That's not there. Bing on the rebound, and the Tigers go back to work. Going back to their favorite corner. There it is again. This time, though, it's Stratton for 3.
Back-to-back possessions. Jones upping their lead to the biggest of the game, 15 and now 18. 1:30 remaining in the third quarter, 45-27.
Foul's called against number 23, Thompson. That's his second, the team's 4th. Mustangs ball on the sideline.
And again, Wekiva was on the verge of cutting this lead down to 7 just about a minute and a half ago. Open look for Thomas. Nicely shot, but off the mark. Hit the heel.
Foul's called against number 23, Thompson. That's his third, the team's 5th. Penalty situation. Jason Francillon at the line, shooting number 2.
Wekiva will be in bonus the rest of the way. 5 fouls per period leads to the bonus. Only 1 for Wekiva. And these are the first and second free throws, actually from either team here in this second half. Second free throw finds the mark, so Wekiva picks up 1 point, cuts the lead down to 17, 126. Third quarter, 45-28 score. So again, Wekiva coming off a 5-23 season, a 12-game losing streak to end last season, 13 if you include Tuesday's night. Of course, that was a preseason game. From that right corner, no dice, rattles in and out, but Windex work and a nice soft touch. Thompson.
Putback made by Kay Thompson. And we'll pause for a timeout. Full timeout called by Wekiva, their 4th of the game.
Lead up to the largest for Jones now, 47-28. They've done it with the tray. There they do it with the offensive rebound. 108 when we return to Mustang Arena.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 47-28, the Tigers on a big run. Since we came back from halftime, they have outscored the Mustangs 20-6. A lot of that action has taken place from long distance territory.
Yeah, so Wekiva had an opening about 2.5 minutes ago. They cut the lead from 14 down to 11 as swinging through that lane and making the withdrawal from the make, Jean Louise. And once they got down to 11, the star for Jones, that's Holmes. He twisted his ankle on a rebound, got the rebound, but fell backwards. They were able to get Wekiva, that is, another deuce, cutting the lead down to 9. But now a 10-0 run. It was 10-0 before that last basket.
Yeah, I also
lead back up to 19.
We've been talking about his offensive production, but I don't want to take away what he was doing on defense for Jones either.
Yeah, leading rebounder as well.
Now here come the Mustangs.
And the whistle on that right side, far side of your screen.
Foul is called against Bing, that's his 4th. Bonus continues for the Mustangs. Harrington at the line shooting 2.
So again, my point is it looked like Wekiva, not only they were making that run, but they were getting a break there with Holmes being out, and the teammates just picked up, just when you thought Wekiva was making some momentum, starting to build some impetus, Jones just crushed it immediately. Again, that 10-0 run. Now a 17-point lead, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 through the middle, and that left wing, they go back to the tray off the far side, and Wekiva dodges the proverbial bullet as the tray clanks off the rim. And a strong rebound.
To the end of the 3rd quarter, and in that 3rd period, it was a 20-8 run for the Tigers. That gives them a 47-30 lead for the game over the Mustangs with 8 minutes left to play here in Game 4 of the Wekiva Men's Basketball 2024 Preseason Classic. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. We are going into the 4th quarter here, and it's a 17-point ball game, 20-8. the margin for the Tigers in the third quarter. Coming out of the break since halftime, Mustangs have really struggled to find some answers. The Tigers will get the throw in here to open up the fourth quarter. And Neil, I said originally that Wekiva had to come up with a solution to the Holmes problem. Well, Holmes left the game, and Wekiva still hasn't come up with answers for the other 5 guys on the court.
Yeah, talked about that at the end of the third quarter, as there's a tray that'll come off the front rim. That was Bing taking it, and it will be Wekiva possession. Again, my point is Wekiva had started to make some headway with Holmes in the game. By the way, Holmes scoring 27 points. He injured his right ankle on a rebound. And just as quickly, within about a minute, the lead got back up to 19. A 10-0 run from Jones. And now 17 points.
Number 10, Quinn. That's his second personal foul, the team's first of this quarter.
Now 17 points is the lead.
Dees and Efren into the game for the Mustangs.
And I'd also go even a little bit further, Mark, in terms of struggling, as you said, trying to find some answers on offense. I would use the word consistently finding some offense, and in particular finding some consistent field goal percentage.
Foul called against Thompson, his fourth. Team second.
So
now here's another handicap for Jones, besides the fact that they're missing their leading scorer. 2 guys on the court have 4 fouls. Number 5, Bing, and number 23, Thompson. They're both 1 or 2 hands, I guess, away from leaving the game.
Nichols launches. Shot does not count. Our referee immediately whistled the shot off.
Team control foul is called against Anderson Efrain. That's his second. The team's first. Turns the ball over to the Tigers.
So as soon as that shot left the hands of Nichols, the Wekiva bench started to rise in unison, which you often see. And now Holmes comes back into the game. He'll inbound the ball. And just as quickly, you could feel the air going out of the Wekiva bench when that whistle blew. So now Jones will bring the ball up with Holmes, their leading scorer, 27, back in the ball game. See, at least in terms of walking, he's not leaning like he was when he left the game midway through the third quarter. They've yet to go to him on the right side. Now Holmes touches the ball for the first time. Couple dribbles back to the left wing extended, one-on-one into the corner. Wekiva down 17. They need to make up some of that deficit early in the fourth quarter. The idea is get down to 10 with about 4 minutes remaining. Jones now doing the smart thing, being patient. They have the 17-point lead. No reason to take a shot. And that was a good location, but nothing on it, and an air ball out of bounds from Horn. So Wekiva catches the break, much needed stop, even if it was more self-inflicted stop. Dees brings it up, one-on-one, 6:15 remaining. Nichols with the cross dribble, trying to get rid of the ball. He does, unfortunately, to the wrong team. Up the other way to go. Holmes with the receiving. He hits the deck and will go to the free throw line.
Foul's called against Darius Holiday, his second personal foul, the team's second of this quarter. Holmes will be at the line shooting 2 for the Tigers.
So again, Holmes with 27 points. Returning from what could have been a very serious injury. He stayed down for several minutes after landing awkwardly, attempting to gain a rebound. Both these teams looking for their first win as 1 of 2 from the line. For Holmes, he's now up to 28. The spin move by Nichols. He's seen a lot of time in the second half. Wekiva catches the break, goes back to Nichols. He kicks it out. They rotate, right wing extended. Johnson wants a shot, can't take it, finds Dees. Clanks off the right side, ricochets out of bounds. And it'll be Jones' possession. So good job by Jones on defense, forcing Wekiva to go to their strong side. They tried the weak side with no opportunity for an open look. And now they'll go back to work with the 18-point lead. Second largest of the game. If they score here, it will be the largest. Sweeping through the lane is Stratton, throws up the ball to get the shot, the free throws. And with 5:30 remaining, Jones will have that opportunity.
Foul's called against number 3, Bryce Dees. That's his first personal foul, the team's third.
Jones
shooting is Stratton.
Jones will have opportunity to reach its largest lead of the game at the free throw line. A 5-point lead at halftime, and then a 20-8 advantage by Jones in the third quarter.
Wait for the signal here. The shot went in, so we have the officials conferring. It depends on whose lane violation it was.
Who entered the lane first, like offsides or encroachment in football.
Stratton's second free throw attempt is good. And then afterward, a foul is called on number 10, Quinn. That's his third, the team's third. Mustangs ball at the baseline.
So also want to mention, haven't had a chance to do this throughout this event. This is the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs men's basketball preseason classic tip-off as they get the ball quickly. Nice job. And Efrani making the withdrawal from the bank.
For two.
49-32. Of course, the women's basketball team, they began their 24-25 season last night, taking on Jones. That game was actually at Jones. And then they'll play Mount Verde on Friday night, tomorrow night, as the tray finds the mark from Holmes.
3 for Holmes, now 31 points for him.
So Holmes certainly not scoring at the rate he was before the injury. Of course, he did miss significant time, but still, points are timely and valuable. As at the other end, Wekiva gets the ball up quickly, forces the action, leading to a foul.
Against Tigers, number 24. That's Antman's first personal foul, the team's fourth at the line shooting for the Mustangs, Caden G. Lewis.
So Gene Lewis with 4 points, now 5. Of course, Wekiva, the women's, they made an unexpected run last year to the state Final Four, had a very respectable 15-9 regular season record. They split the 2 games they played in the district championship tournament, winning the first game, which pretty much clinched the playoff berth. And then they lost the final to Horizon. And of course, looking ahead, the playoffs now, it's the district champion and 4 wild cards in each region. There are 8 teams in each region qualifying for the playoffs. Wekiva was the 5th seed, or you could say they were the highest of the wild card teams. So again, they were 15-9, 16-10 if you include the district championship tournament. A respectable, solid record, but certainly nobody expected them to win 3 games in a row and get to the Final Four. And they returned 8 starters this year. They only lost 1 main player, so they certainly have high hopes this season as the tray is buried.
For Horn.
Horn buries the tray, and the lead now up to 21. Largest of the game for for Jones.
Well, and something else we've seen that's a little bit concerning in these first 2 preseason games is something that Wekiva's men's basketball team has struggled with for the last couple of seasons, and that is their best basketball is played in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coast to coast for Mack. We've seen these last 2 games, Wekiva blow the doors off the place for the first 3 or 4 minutes and then run out of gas.
Unfortunately, there's only 3:33 remaining, and Wekiva down 57-34. In this final game of the
Mustangs spend their final timeout, full timeout called by the Mustangs.
In this 2020 final game of the 2024 Wekiva Men's Basketball Preseason Tip-Off Classic. So Wekiva facing a 23-point deficit. As we said before we went to that timeout, they play their best basketball in the first 3 to 4 minutes of the game, and that certainly has continued tonight. What was a 5-point lead at halftime has developed into a 23-point lead for Jones. And if you joined us late, their leading scorer, Holmes, who has 31 now, out for a significant
Foul
portion.
is called against Horn. That's the second personal foul of the team's fifth penalty situation. Eric Nichols at the line shooting 2.
And that lead ballooning to 23 points without Jones's leading scorer, Holmes, in for the majority. He now has 31 points. When he went out, which was midway through the third quarter, Wekiva had taken a 14-point lead down to 11. They were able to get another bucket and then getting it down to 9. But then Jones went on a 10-0 run, putting it up to 19. So Wekiva unable to take opportunity of that good fortune. At the other end, it's Nichols to spin. The pass over to Holiday, and he's fouled with 3:12 remaining.
Foul's called against Tigers number 11. That's Horn's third personal foul. The team's remains the fifth, and Darius Holiday this time at the line, shooting 2.
Holiday looking for his first points of the game. .312 remaining, a 21-point lead for Jones. They have again dominated the second half, taking a 5-point lead up to the 21. And nice move underneath. That's pure heart.
Put back made for the Mustangs like Gene Lewis.
Jane Lewis cutting the lead back down to 19. Still a long way to go for Wekiva as we drop under 3 minutes. And to be honest, with less than 3 minutes and this lead being around 20 points for most of these last 4 minutes, it's most likely Jones is going to walk out of here with a victory.
Held ball, possession Mustangs.
And Coach Lubin is going to have some work to do with his players. Again, this is a team that went 5-23 last year. They lost to East River on Tuesday night. As we mentioned, that was another case. They had an 8-2 lead about midway through the first quarter. They wound up losing by close to 20. So they have only, if you include that game on Tuesday, even though it's preseason, has the spin, the little jump shot, no dice. They are now 5-24 in their last 29 games, most likely 5-30. Finding the range, Mack.
It's not a 3, but it's a long 2 for Mack.
So that gets the lead back up to 21 with just over 2 minutes remaining.
Turnover. Jones coast to coast, steal 2. Again, Jones the player, not just the team.
And what's particularly disappointing about the final results of both the games in this preseason event is that this is a team that returns 8 starters. It's not like last year where they had nobody returning.
Floated in, Mack for 2.
That being Wekiva with the 8 returners. So now a 25-point lead as we head into the last minute and a half. That's Nichols.
Eric Nichols puts up 2 for the Mustangs.
At the other end, the easy
And
deuce.
2 more for Matt.
And
Timeout, Tigers.
Coach Akins wanting a timeout.
30-second timeout called by Jones.
1:16 remaining, and Jones has blown this game open, 65-40. This is the Wekiva Mustangs Athletic Network.
Wekiva will play against Lake Highland Prep on Tuesday of Thanksgiving week. And that'll be at Lake Highland Prep. We'll be live streaming that on the Metro versus Florida channel.
So the final 1 minute, 16 seconds, not only of this game, but the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs men's basketball preseason classic tip-off. And it's
barring
been
any dramatic changes here in these last 76 seconds, it looks like the Tigers are going to split the series 1-1. Wekiva will go 0-2. Again, none of those really matter in terms of the record, but obviously to your point earlier, you like to get some momentum into the books, even if you're not actually getting it into the books.
Yeah, get that first win out of the way. Gives you a feeling of now we can move on. Jones will have that, as will East River and Apopka. Wekiva will not. And again, it's a bad period for Wekiva as well, including the 2 preseason games this year. They're now 5-30 over their last 35 games.
Coleman picks up his second personal foul. Mustangs continue into the bonus. That would have been a shooting foul anyway. And so that will be number 0, Darius Holiday at the line, shooting 2. Holiday still looking for his first points tonight.
And again, as we mentioned, what's particularly disappointing about losing both these games, and both these games are going to be at least 20-point losses, is the fact that unlike last year, where you could make a case, an understanding why Wekiva was only they were actually 5-19. You can make a case that's understandable given they had no returning starters or bench players. No one on the team had any significant minutes other than Juju Johnson. This year they have 8 returners, and they added 2 transfers.
Lane violation called on the Tigers. Still 1 shot.
So 50 seconds remaining. And now if you're Wekiva, you're looking to get out of here with some type of hanging your hat scenario. Get that lead down to about 20. Cut 5 points off in the last minute or so. So a Jones dominated game in the second half.
A little bit of traveling there, but what's the point in calling it?
Mentioned Wekiva facing a 14-point lead midway through the third quarter. They were able to cut the lead down to 9.
Mustang foul called against Anderson Efrain. That's his 3rd personal foul, the team's 4th. Tigers ball at the baseline.
And it looked like they had caught some good fortune with the leading scorer, Holmes, being injured. He missed significant time. He will wind up with 31 points. He went out with an ankle injury. We wish him the best. Hope that's not a lingering injury. And immediately Jones rambled off 10 straight points. Teammates definitely picking it up. And despite only shooting 40% at halftime, anybody other than Holmes, it was probably about 30%. Up to 19, and they'll wind up getting out of here with a 24-point lead. Again, Jones 1-1 in this event. Wekiva drops to 0-2. 65-41 is your final score. Mark, take us to the finish line.
That takes us to the end of the ball game, and it's a 65-41 victory for the Tigers here in game number 4 of the 2024 Wekiva Mustangs Preseason Classic. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Tiger athletes. Thanks also to those of you who joined us online on YouTube or the NFHS network. We hope that you will subscribe before you go. Those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. We will see you next Tuesday as the Mustangs host Lake Minneola for the first regular season game of Season 18. Until then, good night from Mustang Arena.